Corner kick for the Wildcats. Spear will take it near side, right corner. Here's the kick. In front of the goal. Ukrop in a crowd. It's good! The Wildcats win. They're going to the Final Four.
It all comes down to this. Wildcats with a 6-5 penalty shot advantage. Johnstone set to kick. Deegan readies with his right hand extended. Crowd's reaction will tell the story.
As I travel around, I keep getting asked, how are you going to find another U-Crop? I don't know if I'll ever find another player of Rob's ability, but one thing I do know is that no one will ever wear his number 6 jersey at Davidson, as Davidson will retire their first soccer jersey ever tonight.
Wildcats on the move again. Header and a goal! Davidson College has taken the lead. Attack is what they know best, and they make it pay.
The cheering in the stands has subsided. The athletic achievements here on the field are now just memories. But for 9 seniors, countless Davidson alumni, and the 1,500-member student body here, Charlie Slagle's 13th edition of Davidson Soccer will just truly never be forgotten. During the 1992 campaign, the Wildcats garnered a school record 17 victories against one of the most competitive schedules in collegiate soccer and captured the Southern Conference tournament title. They earned their first ever berth to the 2018 NCAA tournament, finished the regular season with a number 15 ranking in the Soccer America poll, and made the school's first ever appearance in a Final Four. From Rob Ucrop's 50th career goal against South Carolina to Alex Deacon's remarkable saves against Coastal Carolina, it was an improbable season of ups and downs, streaks and slumps, pulsating victories and heartbreaking defeats. But through it all, there was one thing that never changed: the attitude and determination of a coach and his players to improve and find a way to win, and more importantly, to return home with a place in soccer's coveted Final Four. So let's look back on a season that started with so much promise, did not disappoint, and has now created so much excitement for the future. For Rob Ukrop, the summer of 1992 had been filled with anticipation for the upcoming Davidson soccer season. Having missed all but 2 games of the 1991 campaign with a broken left leg, Ukrop set about to finish his career with a vengeance. His off-season letter writing implored returning and future teammates to be in condition, and emphasized a commitment to winning and hard work. 2 tenets that had convinced Ukrop to return for his final season of eligibility. The letters paid immediate dividends as the Wildcats upset 10th-ranked North Carolina 4-3 in double overtime on Cliff Castello's game winner off an indirect free kick from Matt Spear. It would be the first of 9 overtime matches on the season, and the come-from-behind victory proved to Coach Slagle that this team would be something special.
After leading 2-1 against Carolina, they score with about 1:18 left, and in between the 1:18 and the end of regulation, Craig gets thrown out. So we're now playing 10 versus 9. They have 10 versus our 9, and we end up going behind and then coming back to win it. Little things like that just proved to me that this team wasn't going to die, and maybe against North Carolina it was 3 or 4 guys that didn't think we were going to die, and against South Carolina it might have been 4 or 5 guys, and then as we got further and further in the season against NC State it may have been 8 or 10 guys, and by the time we got to NC State the second time it was probably 18 or 15 or 1,000 people who thought that we weren't going to die.
2 days later, the Wildcats opened at home against 10th-ranked South Carolina. After being outshot 13-4 and outplayed in the first half, Davidson rebounded in the second half to tie the game at 1 on a goal by John Sampers and forced their second overtime of the season. In the overtime, the Gamecocks struck first on a goal by midfielder Bill Baumhoff, but with 28 seconds left in the game, Rob Ukrop tallied the 50th goal of his career to give Davidson a 2-2 tie. For Ukrop, staving off the defeat meant more than a personal milestone.
It's been the right place at the right time. It seemed to work out tonight for me. 50, that's just a number. Doesn't mean anything as long as we have a good season. That's the thing that matters.
3 games in 5 days had readied the Wildcats for their trip north to Ukrop's hometown of Richmond for the MDA Coca-Cola Classic, where they would take on Farley Dickinson and the host Richmond Spiders. The Spiders had beaten Davidson the year before in overtime, but this year would prove different. Davidson looked to score early, and they did, on a pass from John Sampers to Rob Ukrop for a 1-0 lead. 2 more goals in the first 30 minutes of the second half preserved a 3-2 victory and catapulted Davidson to a number 4 ranking in the South region, forcing those in the collegiate soccer ranks to sit up and take notice. 2 seasons ago, Davidson defeated the Blue Devils 3-2 and in the process gained their first ever national ranking. Now this time they were 3-1-1 going into the game against Duke, and again the Wildcats realized that another chance for national recognition hung in the balance. Davidson played as if it were the World Cup, outshooting Duke 18-8, but none of the 18 attempts resulted in a goal, and the Cats had to settle for a 0-0 tie and ultimately a number 20 ranking in the coaches' poll. Although frustrated by the outcome, team members recognized that the talent and commitment for future success was there.
After the game, I think that we were upset, and to be upset after tying the number 3 ranked team in the country on their field it's just fabulous. We weren't even a top 20 team at the time. We were a nobody, and we just to be dissatisfied with that really was a telling point, I think, of our team, that we knew we had better within us, and we knew we could make the next step up. We knew we could play with the elite in the country, and we knew we could beat the elite in the country.
The words "hate to lose" are cryptically inscribed on Rob Ukrop's license plate, but it was no secret as to which team those words so intensely applied. Cross-county rival UNC Charlotte had dominated the Wildcats in 4 previous meetings and held Rob Ukrop scoreless in 3 of those. Needless to say, the pre-game rhetoric was intense.
I don't like playing those guys. I don't know why. It's sort of ever since we first. I first started playing. I don't know. There's something about them that just makes me angry. But I like to turn that anger towards my soccer game. And so going into that game, I was confident that we could beat them and that we should beat them. But they scored a goal on us in the first 16 seconds, which just it really woke us up, and we were lackadaisical at the very beginning. We didn't know what to expect, I guess, exactly.
Exactly what the Wildcats got was another 49er goal and a 2-0 early first-half deficit. Andy Hiley's second career goal provided some relief, but UNCC prevailed with a 4-3 victory. Back-to-back wins over Appalachian State and the Citadel gave Davidson a 5-2-2 record heading into their 4th matchup against an ACC opponent, NC State. It was a homecoming for Cliff Castillo, and with a 3-1 advantage early in the second half, another opportunity for the Wildcats to establish themselves as NCAA tournament material. But the 2-goal advantage quickly disappeared. The game became more physical, and the Wildcats were unable to take advantage of scoring opportunities. The result? Davidson's 3rd tie of the season, and a lesson well learned that would prove valuable in a West Coast matchup against number 2 ranked UCLA.
What had happened, I guess I wasn't focused enough, and that set the tone for the rest of the season because people became conscious that we needed to, buckle down and take care of business. You can't just let a 2-goal lead slip away again. And I think that proved to help us out later on at UCLA.
When you think of UCLA, images of Bill Walton, the Wizard of Westwood, and consecutive NCAA basketball titles come to mind. But the Bruins have built a soccer dynasty as well, and this year's squad was no exception. Coach Siggy Schmidt's team featured 3 U.S. Olympians, including eventual Herman Award winner goalie Brad Friedel, who had allowed only 2 goals all season. But Davidson responded to the challenge, scoring 3 goals against Friedel in a 3-1 triumph, and 4 goals against Cal State Fullerton in the title game. For the Wildcats, the notoriety that they had been searching for had arrived in the form of the school's first ever top 10 ranking.
We knew we could do it, and when we went up 3-1, we were the ones that confident on the field against these guys who are supposed to be, the guys we've always looked up and read about in magazines, and the guys we read about playing in Barcelona in the spring, and you see that a little bit of fear in Brad Friedel, their goalkeeper, he started in Barcelona. In his eyes, he's a little bit scared of us. That's something I'll never forget. And he knew we were good, and we knew we were good.
Following a jubilant welcome at the Charlotte airport, the Wildcats posted back-to-back victories over UNC Greensboro and Georgia Southern to run their unbeaten streak to 9 games. But the grueling schedule of 4 matches in 8 days finally took its toll. Road losses to Coastal Carolina and Southern Conference champion Furman left Davidson with an 11-4-3 record and a realization that to qualify for an NCAA berth, they would need to win the remaining games.
We knew we had to be top 3 or 4 in the South. At the time, we were getting pushed out to number 5, 6, 7, and it couldn't happen. We knew we had to buckle down. We knew we should have beat the teams, the rest teams on our schedule. We knew we were better than them. It was just a matter of going out and doing it. And Coach Slagle said after the Furman game, if you don't win the next 5 games, you're probably not going to get it. And that just really hit us. We were just like, God, what are we doing? We should be there. We know we could be there. After tying Duke, tying State, beating UCLA, we knew we were as good as those teams. We knew we deserved to play in the big leagues, the big tournament at the end of the season.
Recognizing their perilous position, the Wildcats attacked the tournament field with a vengeance. They tied the school single-game record with 9 goals in their first-round win over Marshall. And Rob Ukrop tallied 3 goals for the second time this season in Davidson's 5-0 shutout of VMI. The stage was now set for the Wildcats to capture their first Southern Conference tournament crown since 1972. Hard fought from the get-go, the Mountaineers jumped out on top with an unassisted goal from David Terry 7 minutes into the match. But that would be Appalachian's only shot on goal in the first half, and the Wildcats took advantage, getting goals from Cliff Castello and Ben Hayes 9 minutes apart to take a 2-1 lead at intermission. The Wildcats' arsenal continued. 17 shots on goal, this one by tournament MVP Hayes. With 8 minutes left was the final salvo in Davidson's 3-1 championship victory. With a school record 16 regular season wins in tow, Davidson's NCAA tournament hopes now rested in the tenuous hands of the tournament selection committee. The morning of November 9th was like any other on campus. Students prepared for midterm exams, got their mail around 11:30 at the post office. Nothing extraordinary. But for the school's athletic department, things were a little different, to say the least. Whether or not the soccer team secured an NCAA berth, the college would still play host to 8,100 fans and the Final Four. Put in perspective, it was already a successful campaign for Coach Slagle and his staff. A school record 16 wins, 85 goals, a victory over traditional power UCLA. And no one deserved more credit than Slagle himself, except maybe for his star player and nation's top scorer, Rob Ukrop.
No, I guess my philosophy has always been just hit it hard on goal, and if I don't know where I'm going, then the keeper probably doesn't know either.
Pretty good philosophy for this season's Herman Award finalist. To date, the senior forward has 139 shots, 10 assists, and 29 goals, making him one of the most prolific players in the history of collegiate soccer. But for the unassuming Ukrop, it's his Wildcat teammates who deserve the praise for his success.
I guess that's made me successful, just been the whole team. Everybody's been working hard to get me the ball up front. I just haven't been in the right place at the right time quite a bit this season.
But head coach Charlie Slagle is not as humble when he says that Ukrop's success is definitely related to his unrelenting desire to win.
I think the first is his determination. He wants to do well. He wants to perform. Second, he hates to lose. He'll do anything to win.
And win this team has. rebounding from an 8-10 record a year ago to post 16 victories, including a big win over UCLA and a 5-game unbeaten streak following their Southern Conference championship win over Appalachian State.
I think, everybody's just been fired up this whole season, and, it's Coach Slagle getting us all prepared. I guess, we've had a big jump in goals, and like I said, the school record with, I think, 87 goals now, which is just phenomenal. I think that's just because everybody believes that we can win, and I'm not so much sure it's me picking those guys up, but I think everybody just believes.
His teammates are not quite as modest.
He's a man among boys out there, not only by his size, just by his ability. He knows when we need a goal, and he knows how to get it. He knows how to step up. Not many people can do that. He's just a money player, is all there is to it.
He was the ideal person to have, on our team to do what he did. And a lot of the thanks for how the team did belongs to him, and a lot of the inspiration was, on his part.
For Charlie Slagle, the difference between last year's team and this unit is undeniably U-Crop.
Losing him last year, it hurt losing him as a player, but it hurt more losing him as a leader. He's a very fine leader. Second of all, his ability not only to pass the ball, but his ability makes the other teams double team him, look to him. It leaves a lot more gaps for people.
For U-Crop, the awards and accolades will always rekindle memories. But his primary focus right now is for his teammates and the success they'll enjoy the rest of the season.
I guess personal honors are something that it'd be nice to look back on in a few years, but right now, we have team goals, and that's what we're playing for.
With U-Crop on the Davidson marquee and only one defeat against 6 ranked opponents, it would have been difficult to exclude the Wildcats from the 2018 NCAA tournament field. And at 1:15 on Monday, November 9th, reason prevailed.
The next first-round matchup has Davidson College traveling to North Carolina, Charlotte. Davidson College record this year, 16-4-3. It is their first appearance in the championship.
The UNC Charlotte 49ers. In Davidson's first ever appearance in the NCAA tournament, they have to play their arch nemesis, a team no member of the current squad had ever beaten. And in 3 of those 5 games, the UNC 49ers won by only 1 goal, including a 4-3 decision earlier in the season. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. For the players, this game was something special. From the start, the intensity level in the Battle of Mecklenburg County echoed the pregame rhetoric. Ben Hayes put the Cats ahead early with his 12th goal of the season, off a pass from Andy Schwab 13-25 into the match. Davidson continued to attack. 22 shots on goal, 10 from the nation's top goal scorer, Rob U-Crop, including this one from 18 yards out that could have put the game away midway through the second half. The 49ers finally capitalized on Davidson's missed opportunities. Craig Appleby tied the game at 1 with this shot past Alex Deegan at the 75-53 mark of the match. But still, the Wildcats had a chance to win in regulation. With 8 minutes left, Rob U-Crop lined up for this penalty kick. The ball sailed wide right, and for the 5th time this season, the Wildcats would go to overtime. It remained tied at 1 until the 4:15 mark. Davidson had a throw-in, near side, right corner. Finally, as improbable as it was, U-Crop had scored only his 2nd career goal against UNCC, and the Wildcats led after the first overtime period 2-1. But Frank Kohlenstein's 49ers, and especially Matt Kosher, seemed to get stronger, feeding off the 4,500 fans packed into the stands and sprawled on the hillside surrounding the field. Kosher took a pass from Dan Westwater and poked the ball past an outstretched Deegan. Tied at 2, the teams prepared for sudden death. 2 more 15-minute periods, and if necessary, penalty kicks. The first team to score wins. The extra 30 minutes produced only further fatigue and ultimately a showdown between goalkeepers, Davidson's Alex Deegan and UNCC's Kevin Shockley. The goal stands 8 feet tall, 24 feet wide. The shooter is only 36 feet away. Now, goalkeeper Deegan stands only 5 feet 9 inches tall. But it would be his heart that would prove bigger than his stature, not only that day, but for the remainder of the tournament. Deegan guessed correctly against Dan Westwater and Chan Routh, while the Cats senior tri-captain Craig Omley and the team's second leading scorer Ben Hayes netted Deegan a 2-shot cushion. But again, the 49ers rallied, and on their 5th attempt, Randy Sheen bested Deegan with a shot to the right corner to even the score at 3. The only guys left were John Sampers and UNCC keeper Kevin Shockley. Sampers struck his shot hard and low off the inside right post and across the goal for the game winner. The dream season was still intact, and nobody, at least on this day, was interested in waking up. Round 2 of the tournament was not much different than round 1, except for the opponent and the weather. A steady rain had made field conditions difficult and neutralized any speed advantage either team had. 150 minutes of soccer produced 20 shots on goal, only one by either team during the final 45 minutes of play. Again, Davidson goalkeeper Alex Deegan would be called upon to keep the Wildcats' Final Four hopes alive.
I felt that we deserve this game, and we're the better team today, and we're going to win it. It's hard to say that going into penalty kicks because anything can happen, and a lot of times the best team doesn't win. But I don't know, I just felt like, there's a little bit of destiny there for us, building through the whole season, and we just, after deserving that game and playing on our home field, it had to come through.
5 players, 5 kicks, each team. Davidson went up 2-1 on this attempt by Matthew Spear, but Coastal rallied to take a 3-2 lead after the 4th set of kicks on this shot from Eric Schmidt. Now the Chanticleers needed only to hit their next attempt or stop the 5th Davidson shot to win. But John Sampers, the hero in Davidson's win over UNCC, scored to the bottom left corner. And Deegan made an unbelievable save on Rob Williams at the post to keep the session tied at 3 and advance the match into sudden death. Craig Omley again gave Davidson the advantage, but Coastal keeper Brian Hickey made a great save on Cliff Castello's attempt. And for the 3rd time, Coastal had a chance to win. But Deegan saved Shane Gilstrap's shot. Same song, different kicker. Coastal's Damon Richfowski. Score still tied at 5-5. Finally, on the 10th set of kicks, freshman Ryan Northington scored with a left-footed shot to the corner to give the Cats the advantage. Survive and advance. Never before had those words preached so regularly by Coach Charlie Slagle echoed so loudly. Finally, it was over in one of the most emotional games in the history of collegiate soccer, or sports for that matter. This 5'9", 160-pound dynamo had done it again, and no one was prouder of the accomplishment than his own mother.
I believed in him. I just wanted him to make the save. I kept saying, make the save, make the save. He's been in this so many times, and it was just the greatest thing I've ever seen. He's just wonderful. He's the greatest kid in the whole wide world.
Unbelievable, read the headline in Monday's Davidsonian. A genuine reaction by everyone to Davidson's efforts some 17 hours earlier. No soccer scholarships, 300-plus minutes of NCAA tournament action, 7 saves in penalty kicks. What other words could describe the feelings of 22 educated feet, as the New York Times would put it, as they prepared for yet another rematch with regular season foe, 3rd-ranked NC State. In the regular season meeting, remember, the Wildcats had squandered a 3-1 lead and were forced to settle for a 4-4 tie. The lesson learned from that experience was that they could compete on any level. With that in mind, head coach Charlie Slagle used the pregame pep talk to emphasize that teamwork would count for more than talent, and that all of the season's hard work would overcome any home field advantage. He really didn't need to say anything. The Wildcats were already motivated for the challenge.
Well, Coach, the whole time I guess when we made the NCAAs, the first practice, he went down the list and said, can you beat this team? Can you beat this team? And then we went down the whole list of teams, and we felt we could beat everybody on the list if we played our game. And we made it to the first 2 rounds successfully with a bit of luck, thanks to Alex Deegan. We got to that NC State game, and it set a lot of confidence. You know, we're staying in nice hotels, and you know, the morale was definitely up. And it came game time, and Coach just said, this is what it's all about. Go out and do your best. And you know, Terry Holland had told us before the first game that you just want to go out and do your best. And if it works out, it works out. But don't be concerned with winning. Just try and maximize your performance.
With the ACC's Coach of the Year, Player of the Year, and Freshman of the Year leading the charge, NC State embarked on a strategy that was fairly simple. Shut down UCrop and hammer away until the Davidson defense collapses. And it almost worked. Tied at 0 at the end of regulation, NC State blistered the Davidson defense, outshooting the Cats 8-0 in the first 15-minute overtime period. This one by senior Gabriel Oguanco missed wide right. But somehow Davidson held on, and like the other 7 overtime contests during the season, seemed to gain confidence and strength the longer the match wore on. Finally, 12 minutes into sudden death, Matthew Spear took a free kick from the right corner at NC State's end of the field. The Wildcats' dream was finally a reality. Rob Ukrop's 31st goal of the year, the 76th of his career, would not only be his last, but it would be his most important. With a 1-0 victory over the Wolfpack, the 1992 Davidson Wildcat soccer team would make the school's first ever appearance in the Final Four. For Coach Charlie Slagle, the mission begun 13 seasons ago was almost complete. The chance to bring a national championship to his alma mater was only 1 game away. His 1992 edition of Davidson Soccer had achieved near cult status on the liberal arts campus. For the players, the improbable run to a national title was something they never imagined when they decided to come to Davidson.
And then I knew as soon as last season was over and Rob, told me he was coming back, I said, this is a team that can do it. Everyone has a year to play without Rob, and then we're used to playing without him. And now when he comes back, it's just going to be a great addition. We'll have a great scoring threat. And, it's definitely a dream, but a Final Four, no, definitely not.
When we first arrived, the seniors, and we were playing on the varsity field back there, and the bleachers, there were these wooden bleachers that were kind of worn out, and and when we played our games, we'd managed to fill up those bleachers or maybe get them about half full. And then by our sophomore year, I think those bleachers turned into metal bleachers, and that we'd fill it up, and people would be lining the field, and to end up moving up onto the varsity field and fill up that, it's amazing how the team grew and how the soccer program here grew, and to get further in a sport than any team here has done. I mean, no one's gotten to the Final Four.
Wooden, metal, or concrete bleachers, it didn't matter. Every available seat in Richardson Field was packed. The preliminary bout had featured the defending national champions and top-ranked Virginia Cavaliers, making their 3rd Final Four appearance in 4 years against conference rival Duke. And the Cavaliers made quick work of the Blue Devils in the second half, tallying 2 goals in a 9-minute span en route to a 3-0 shutout victory. While that game was being played out, head coach Charlie Slagle, with some help from athletic director Terry Holland, was busy preparing his troops for their matchup against San Diego.
Couple things here, guys. You've had a great time so far this year, all right? This has been the most fun I've ever had in athletics, and would love for it to continue. The only way it's going to continue is if we play our tails off and go out and have some fun, take it to them, play offense, do what we do best. If we do that, we'll be in great shape. But we've got to do what we do best. If we can do it, then we're going to be the winners today. All right? But we cannot worry about the crowd. The crowd's going to be great. Get that ball down the wings, get the ball into the box, get the ball to Rob, run off of him, and just play the best game of your life. All right? Play hard. No one is expecting us to be in the final. All right? Maybe some people are expecting us because we're here now. But you got to look at the long run. The long run is nobody expected us to be in the final. We're one 90-minute game or more away from doing that. All right? Got a lot of experience in the tournament now because of so many minutes. So let's go out, play our game, break down, help each other out, play like we should, and we'll have a great, great game.
The Toreros' appearance in the tournament semifinals was no fluke. They had defeated Stanford, UCLA, and Indiana to advance and had won 12 of their last 13 games heading into the afternoon clash with the Wildcats. They, too, had their sights set on a national title.
We're happy to be here, but at the same time, we haven't come here just to be happy to be here. We're here to take home a national championship if we can.
With both teams feeding off the emotion of the 8,100 fans packed into Richardson Field, the first 5 minutes of the match was a feeling out process, getting acclimated to the field and the environment, maybe more so for Davidson than for San Diego. The Wildcats were playing without key defender Cliff Castillo, who, according to NCAA Rule 6, Section 17, Point B, was forced to serve a one-game suspension for receiving 3 yellow cards during the tournament. The absence of the 6'3" Castillo, who had started 51 consecutive games for the Wildcats, would create some matchup problems against San Diego's 6'5" forward Chugger Adair, the Toreros' second leading goal scorer. But with the rotation established, Davidson began attacking as it had done all season en route to a school record 86 goals. With only 7.5 minutes elapsed in the first half, Matthew Spear got the ball.
The Wildcats on the move again, a header and a goal! Davidson.
Ben Hayes' 13th goal off John Samper's 13th assist this season had given Davidson a 1-0 advantage and an extra shot of adrenaline. But San Diego battled back, getting 3 shots on goal, 2 by leading scorer Guillermo Jara over the next 35 minutes to put Davidson on the defensive. Then, with 8 minutes remaining in the first half, Jara attacked again. Alex Deegan's 367 minutes of shutout play had ended, and the momentum was now in San Diego's favor. And a minute 14 later, Doug Barry netted this loose ball from 17 yards out to make it 2-1 Toreros at the intermission. For one of the nation's top goal-scoring teams, the Wildcats had managed only 2 shots on goal in the first 45 minutes. Never short on confidence, the Wildcats kept attacking, and finally the persistence paid off. San Diego's midfielder Alex Strychek, looking to pass the ball back to goalkeeper Scott Garlick, looked one way. Garlick looked the other. Game tied at 2 with 23 minutes left in regulation, and the hometown crowd was back in force. Over the next 15 minutes, the Wildcats took 6 shots, one by Herman Award finalist Rob Ukrop that almost went in.
What happened was, the ball was there. I thought Craig was going to hit it, and I hesitated, and the ball rose, and hit a ball in the rise. It's going to go over the goal. Just, you know, I probably should have compensated for it, but you know, I opened up the, I guess it was the Mecklenburg Gazette the next day, and that was a shot in there, frozen right with me hitting it over.
Again, for the 9th time this season and the 4th straight time in the tournament, Davidson would go to overtime, this time tied at 2-2. The Wildcats had owned the extra periods. They were a team of destiny. The Cinderella story, no thoughts of defeat existed. Plus, they had Alex Deegan, and it was his performance again that would keep the Wildcats in it. Back-to-back saves by the sophomore kept the game tied at 2 through the first 15 minutes. In the second overtime, Davidson mounted an attack, but Rob Ukrop was called for offsides, another missed opportunity for the Wildcats. Then suddenly, with 2:26 left in the second overtime, San Diego won it. Kevin Legg scored off a crossing pass from Guillermo Jara to give the Toreros the victory. 552 minutes of tournament play, countless hours of practice, the long bus rides together, all reduced to this moment. A moment in which Rob Ukrop's words penned back on July 23rd echoed louder than ever. losing did sting, especially after they had come so close. For the 9 seniors on this year's team, the San Diego loss was a difficult one to swallow. The loss, at first glance, a token sign of failure. But in the broader scope of life, this season was one rich with success. Friendships forever formed between not only players, but families. National athletic recognition for one of the best academic schools in the country. And most importantly, a recognition that if you try hard enough, goals that once seemed out of reach are actually attainable. For all those involved, it will be a season to remember, and a constant reminder that you actually can go home again, even if it's only to play in the Final Four.
Walking on the field, Richardson Field, and 8,000 plus being there, probably 7,000 of us were screaming for us, and it's just a great feeling, It's just something you'll never forget. And I mean, I wasn't nervous the whole season until that last game, and to be nervous on my home field seems a little strange, but it was a good nervous. It was just so much energy that I could not have gotten tired that night running a marathon. And it's just, I hope that a lot of people, that are listening to this and can experience that amount of energy and that amount of encouragement and inspiration that we got from all the fans there. And I think that a lot of people there were affected in many ways in the same manner we were by that game and by our season. That they, I had countless number of people come up to me during the season, especially at the end of the season, we're doing so well, and to say that you've given me a push, in my life right now, and you've helped me out, and you've given me an inspiration to do better, and to, and when I say, never say quit, and to work harder, and you can reach your dreams. That's the most important thing to me. I think that I influence the people, that my friends, my classmates, my teachers, the administration here, the people in Davidson, and most importantly, my family, that I showed them that you can always do better, you can always make the next step up to get that level that you never thought you could be at, and you can make it.